Welcome to Cranky Live Sports Talk, where passion meets action.
Hey sports fans, I am Cranky, and this is the Cranky Live Sports Talk, the podcast where we dive deep into the hottest topics, the biggest games, and the most controversial moments in sports.
Whether it's football, basketball, track and field, cricket, or soccer, we've got you covered with expert analysis, insider interviews, and unfiltered opinions.
Join me as I chat with the biggest names in sports, get exclusive insights and stories you won't hear anywhere else.
Cranky Live Sports Talk is where you can hear the real talk, the hard-hitting questions, and the hottest takes.
So, if you're a true sports fanatic, you don't want to miss out? Subscribe now to the Cranky Live Sports Talk on YouTube and hit that bell icon to never miss an episode.
Cranky Live Sports Talk, where sports come alive. Subscribe today.
Good evening. Let me know out there in YouTube land if you can hear me. Good evening. Trying to make sure I'm coming across the airwaves clear. Good evening. Appreciate anyone who has joined so far. Thanks for joining the stream. It's always appreciated. And as I mentioned in the previous show, this is a very, very busy time of the year for sports, which is not normally the case, actually. You just think about sports in general. This time is when you'll have the NBA Finals. NFL is, people are gearing up to go to camp, what I call boot camp in a sense. You have the hockey going on, obviously, but they're in the final stages, going towards the finals. You have basketball in its final stages. And you may have a world championship, for example. But this year we have a ton more. We have World Cup cricket. We have the Olympics coming up. And if you are more local in this region, you have Copa America. If you're in Europe, you have the Euros. So there's just a lot of sports, a lot of football players and their administrators and their agents. I've indicated that the FIFA calendar is too packed, actually, between local domestic competitions and FIFA competitions. It's difficult for players to get in this period of rest time. And normally they're resting between, say, June and, say, early July because they go back for preseason in July. So it'll be interesting this year in terms of some of these competitions because players will go back later than they normally would just because they have to get rest, right? You play in the Euro, you play in Copa America, your club is on an overseas tour. You know, teams like Tottenham going to Asia, Man U, Arsenal come to the States. It's going to be interesting to see how that works out. So it will be interesting times for those teams. But I want to touch up a few things today. One of those things is, well, I always want to touch on the sports that are ongoing now. So in World Cup cricket, you know, India played Ireland today. Wasn't much of a competition because Ireland has done well over the last number of years. I think they beat West Indies the last time they played them in a competition. So it's really interesting to see how well India's dispatched them. I think India bowled them out from mid-90s and made that with losing 2 wickets. And the World Cup is going well. I mean, Canada played against the U.S. and the U.S. won, and that was an exciting game, actually. 2 of the low AF teams and don't expect to do much in the competition. But a lot of runs were scored in those games, probably showing the bowling is not where it needs to be. But that's intriguing and interesting just because I think what the ICC is doing and the cricketing nations are doing is tapping into some of the more industrialized countries and bring them into the fold. Canada, the US, the Netherlands, those countries are playing cricket at halfway decent level. They've had a lot of migration. So if you look at the US team and the Canadian team is blacks and or Indians were constitute a lot of those teams, which is interesting. And I think you'll see more of that, right? As the game becomes more popular, more money in the game, kids will gravitate towards those games because you only have 400 plus people playing the NBA. And most of those sports is the same thing. You have to have some specialized skill set. Cricket may not need some of the, they need the height or the weight per se. Just got to be a good athlete, actually. So it'll be interesting to see how that materializes over time and how much we see the US and Canada get. Maybe not in my lifetime they'll be good, but I'm sure at some point, given how the US is, it's like football. They'll invest in the sport they have a lot of resources. And we've seen with the West Indies, and we've seen with India, the West Indies were dominant at one point when it's just natural athleticism that drives how you play and outcomes. India, which weren't good when I was growing up, became really, really good because they have 1 billion+ people. They generate a lot of income. They invest in the sport. And I think money talks in any endeavor in life, but it's very indicative in sport, unless you have an egalitarian system in sport like we have in the US in the NBA, where you can get good through the draft. In cricket, you have to invest in the players, and that allows you then, when you invest in the players, to have good outcomes at the end of the day. So a good thing for this part of the region and the West Indies, who are hosting the T20 World Cup. Last year, we didn't make the 50 over World Cup, which is amazing. If it went in the 80s and in the 70s, if you tell someone West Indies weren't going to be top 2, top 3, they would just laugh at you, right? The main competition was really Australia at one point. Then, some of the teams got better, but it was just Australia, West Indies. The rest of the countries played, and some played decent at times, but there weren't much competition. And times have changed, and so have the fortunes of the West Indies team. But hopefully that will change over time. But the tournament people have been receptive to the tournament. I haven't had a chance to go to a game yet. Not sure I can make it because I decided to do this channel thing, and it's taking a lot of my time. But if I get the opportunity, I will go out to a game because the seats are not sold out, but they're decently attended, actually. Probably even more so than in the Caribbean. Now, I think I had on the thumbnail or the preview of the show to talk about the NBA Finals and to talk about Jamaica versus Dominican Republic, which I spent a lot of time doing at the back end of the show. I forget the front end. I'll get out the way some of the other sport activities which are around, which we should talk about. So in cricket, hopefully the West Indies will do well. I think I said yesterday that if Johnson Charles can bat through the first 10 overs, I think West Indies will be in a good place. I mean, he made a duck the last game. But with his power hitting, if he gets going, then all boulders are at his mercy. So hopefully he goes well in the tournament. And I think so goes the West Indies. Thanks for those who have joined. Bless up Tuffy Rudy. Bless us Princess Jillian. Glad you could join me. And over time, actually, I may form one of those membership things I see other YouTubers do and sort of build up that membership portfolio. But glad you're here and glad you could be here with me to talk sports. And look, I'm looking forward to comments in the comment section. I do have a call-in number, which we'll utilize at some point during the show. And you can see the number. I will leave the number to run across the stream. As you know, I'm still getting used to this forum, these items that I use are different components that informs a YouTube studio. So over time, I'll get better, and I'm sure the show will improve over time. But I'm extremely pleased and appreciative of you being here with me to talk sports. Now, the NBA, and I don't want to just talk Jamaica's football. I mean, I think we have enough YouTubers who just talk Jamaica football. Obviously, it's going to be a key component of the show, but it's not going to be the entire show, right? There are other nations that play across the globe and in the Caribbean. Part of my objective is to see how can we bring the Caribbean more together? How can we have more dialogue about what's happening in other Caribbean countries? And how can we talk sports? There's more breadth to it than just very, very narrow. And look, Jamaica is the most dominant of the English-speaking Caribbean, but it's not the only English-speaking Caribbean country. And there's a lot of engagement, communication between the different countries. But I did interview Rudolph Speed yesterday. I thought the interview went really well. He was very, very transparent. And I was appreciative of him being here because he and I had communicated early in the day, and he was in Sweden with the under-15 team. And it was a 6-hour time difference and a 7-hour time difference between Jamaica, 6 hours between the U.S. And he came on at 12 o'clock at night and spoke for about an hour and 30+ minutes. So that was appreciated, him being here, having an open dialogue. And what I wanted, the objective of my discussion with him was to try to get to know him a little bit different than just talking JFF, which he was very receptive to. So that was good, actually. But let's transition to the NBA Finals. I'm a Knicks fan, actually, and we haven't won the NBA championship since most of you weren't born, 1973. It's a long, long time ago. And this is another year we didn't win. But I am encouraged. And you always want to look at your team, even if you don't win, as the direction of travel. Where are you going? How good can you be? How good are you now? And how good can you be? And I'm in a great spot, actually, as a fan. So I support, well, not for all the sports. I support the West Indies in cricket, but I don't watch them as often as I should because they're so difficult to watch. They do well, and then they're playing well in the game, and you're saying something's going to happen bad, and they collapse. I follow Arsenal football team, which I think we didn't win this year. We came second, missed out by 2 points to the champions who just continues winning. But the good things for us is that we have hope because we're doing well, and we've come second 2 years in a row, and we just have to get over that threshold. I support the Giants here in New York football team. Not much to talk about there. I think they have a long way to go. I support, who else? I support the Knicks, and we have been stragglers for years, but I think the Knicks are getting better and will continue to get better, frankly. And I support Jamaica football team. And I'm encouraged by a number of things, which I'll touch upon. Bless up, Stefan. Bless up, Fresh God, as usual. And appreciate you being here. Stefan is saying Mavs to win in 6 or 7. Stefan, I'm not sure you're right. Porzingis is back. We'll touch upon that. But the Knicks have a lot of injuries this year, right? And throughout the playoffs, whether it's Randall or OG later on, Brunson have to have surgery. But the great thing is that when you have a team that's young, they are contracted for a good period of time, and the future look bright, you have hope, and you can be there as a fan. Not that you want to be just being a bandwagonist, but it gives you encouragement, and you have aspirations that you think can be satisfied. So I think that's a good thing as related to the Knicks. As related to Jamaica, look, the JFF, and Rudolph mentioned this last night, have an ambitious program to really improve the football in Jamaica. I think he mentions he wants to get a good spot by 2030 in terms of direction of travel where they want to be. They're producing quality, exceptional, world-class players. And they have a plan, and they're instituting and implementing initiatives to allow them to execute against that and to achieve it. So this is a great thing, right? Now, it has to be done. And I think part of that whole drive and those initiatives entail having coaches with the requisite acumen who have been accredited and who are going out to teach those kids. Because if you have a bad teacher, unless you have the student just extremely exceptional, you're going to have bad outcome. You won't get the product you're looking for. So I think it's a good thing that Rudolph, Ricketts, and the JFF are doing in trying to be more foundational in what they're trying to accomplish in going out, looking at infrastructure, enhancing the infrastructure, enhancing the coaching, with the ultimate objective is to enhance the players and get them to play at a high level. And I am very optimistic that, and given that they're also getting financial support from FIFA to help them achieve this. So if they get the resources, if they hire the right people, if they put the right process in place, hopefully they'll get the right outcome. And it will make us as fans happier and more happier. In addition to that, obviously, we see more and more players of Jamaican heritage who are coming to play for Jamaica. So that should also help. But I want to touch upon the basketball and come back to the football. In the basketball, look, Dallas has done extremely well. It's interesting, right? So in the NBA Finals, we have Dallas playing Boston. Now, Boston had a phenomenal season. Their starting five all have been all-star in some respects, right? Drew Holiday, Brown, Tatum, all have been some kind of all-star. White, whether they're on defensive team or NBA team or the all-star team you pick, they have had some achievement, some accomplishment suggests they are elite players. And Porzingis has also been an all-star at one point in his career. Is also a very good player, but who's injury-prone. And he didn't play in the series against Indiana. I think he may have started a game in Miami, but didn't play most of that series. So in essence, they were missing a key player for them who's going to be able to stretch the Dallas defense and make it more difficult for Dallas. Because what Dallas has done, so let's talk about Boston. Boston ran through the regular season, won the East by a double-digit number of games. Tatum, Brown, They got Drew Holiday, who was at Milwaukee, I think, went to Portland and came over. Derek White, who was at San Antonio for a while, came to all elite players in their own regards. And then they got Porzingis on top of that. So their starting five are an exceptional starting five. And then they have someone like Al Horford off the bench. So in essence, they have a very, very good team. Now, last year, they lost in the conference finals to me, a lesser Miami team. Obviously, Jimmy Butler and others played really well, but they didn't necessarily have Tyler Hero. So it was a little bit surprising that they lost the way they did. I think Stefan is saying Kristaps will be key. Totally agree, Stefan, in the series. And it's interesting that they came back this year, obviously, with an improved roster, and it showed in the results that they had throughout the season. They had an excellent season. In the playoffs, though, look, Miami didn't give much of a competition. Jimmy Butler was hurt. They weren't fully healthy, and I don't think they played as well. And it showed in the regular season because their record wasn't that great, right? They weren't in the playing tournament. But against Indiana, it could have been a tougher series. They should have lost the first game. They probably should have lost the last game that they played. Halliburton got hurt. So in essence, it could have been a much tougher season. They won 4-0. The score wasn't indicative of how the series went. And at the end of the day, they won. And so they're in the finals, right? Now, it's going to be interesting because they're playing a Dallas team which didn't make the playoff last year. Now, they had a shot to make the playoff last year at the end of the season. They chose not to play their better players for the few games because, I wasn't sure they're going to make the playoffs, but they tanked the end of the season. Let's put it that way, because they want to get a better draft pick, which turned out to be Lively, the kid Lively, who's played really well for them. So what they basically did was beef up the center of their team, the center position, and between Lively and I think it's Gifford on that team, Gifford, I should say. And then what they did, Kyrie became more of a leader this year. Doncic, who doesn't play any defense, frankly, is the same normal stellar self. The surprising thing is that Hardaway hasn't played as well, and he was key for them over the years. So in essence, if you look at that Dallas team, I'm surprised that they went through the West as easily as they did. Denver won last year, had a very good team, didn't play up to their potential, right? They say styles makes fights. And in this case, the Minnesota was the perfect opponent, or the bad opponent for Denver, frankly, because they match up well in the center. Not necessarily well, because Jokic is just a difficult cover, but they had two big bodies in there to play against him, just like how the Knicks had a number of bodies to play against Embiid. And then on the wing position, they had Edwards and other players who were good. McDaniel were good players defensively and had enough offense to win. Even though I think Denver shouldn't have lost that series since they came back from being 2-0 down. So that was interesting. I see a lot of people here in this. I see people here in this chat really believe. So tell me what you think Dallas is going to win. Because if you look at the two teams on paper, you have Kyrie and Luka, but you guys got to remember this: Drew Holiday and Derek White were all NBA defensive teams, right? They're elite defenders. So why do you think, and they won't have as easy a time with those defenders, even though it's hard to stop an offensive play no matter how good you are defensively, but you slow them down, as they did against Minnesota or Oklahoma. So why do you think that Dallas is going to win? Well, if you stop Kyrie and Doncic, or even one of the two, you may win the series. So, and here's what's interesting also. So if you play against Boston with Porzingis, he's like a guard, Frank, right? Or a power forward in today's NBA, or small forward in today's NBA, not power forward, but power forwards also play that way, which is he plays on the perimeter a lot of times on the offensive end, but he also defends the paint really well. So why do you, bless up Brownman Security, why do you think that Dallas will beat Boston when he's going to pull the centers from Dallas, where it's Lively or Gifford, away from the basket, right? So therefore, the paint would not be protected, which allowed Tatum and Brown and White and Holiday to penetrate the paint. That's going to be difficult cover for them. And then on the defensive end, Luka doesn't play defense. Let's be honest. And I don't think Oklahoma or Minnesota exploited that weakness in the Dallas team. Frankly, if you want to get rid of a good player who doesn't play defense, just keep going at him. At some point, they got to call it. Now, the best players in the NBA get the call because they want to keep them on the floor. But they're going to call it. Without a doubt, they're going to call it in some of those instances. Especially if you use some of your better players like Tatum, who complains to the ref a lot, to drive at him. So think about it. You have Brown, you have Tatum, you have Holiday, you have White, all who can score, driving a Doncic at some point. Depends on who Doncic covers. If you can get him in foul trouble, you're in a good place because the backup point guard and who else they have on the bench, apart from maybe Hardaway is decent, they don't have that great a team. So their starting five is good. They bring one of the centers off the bench, but it's going to be a challenge for Dallas, I think. Really difficult. So Boston is loaded. And then they bring Al Horford off the bench who can shoot three-pointers. And when you played Minnesota, and to a lesser extent Oklahoma, you could stay in the paint at the center. Porzingis is going to pull you 20 feet away from the basket. What are you going to do? You're going to stay in the paint so he can shoot his three? Because he's shooting 36% from three. And he's probably even a better three-point shooter than his stats show for the season. It's going to be very, very difficult. So we'll see what happens. But it should be a really good series. Well, I mean, they asked him the question. Vinsky, you say, is he 100%? They asked him the question. I'm not sure he fully answered it, but I think they were saving him for the finals. So if you think about it, their thought probably is, you know what? Miami is an easy series. Why bring him back? He probably wasn't ready to come back. Against Indiana, if you're up 2-0 and 3-0, why bring him back, right? Take as much time as possible to recover. So I assume that he's healthy. He may not be, but nobody's fully healthy at this time of the year, right? People have some nicks and knacks that they're dealing with. No one's fully healthy. But I would expect that he's going to be a game changer, frankly. I mean, he plays the entirety, both ends. He can go to the basket. He can shoot the three. He's a difficult matchup. And he's 7 foot plus tall. So it's going to be really difficult for Dallas to match up with him. So I think, look, Luka is an exceptional player, and he's proven it year after year. But I think two things. You heard Rudolph said last night, which I thought was really interesting, that he attacks the strengths of his opponent, right? Which I sort of flip to say, it's not that you attack the strength of the opponent. You attack the weakness in what the team utilizes as their strength. What does that mean? For example, when you play inverted in football, and if you have a left or right back coming inside, that means there's more space on the outside. So you find a way to get on the outside to counter what they're doing. All of this is counter and counter, frankly, when you play sports. And you'll see a lot of that in this series. So I would expect it to be a really good series, frankly. We'll see how it goes. Vincey's saying, plus Lively can move his legs. He can defend Porzingis at the three. Yeah, he can, but the problem with that, Vinsky, is so you come defend me at the three, the lane is open, and Brown and Tatum, even though they like to shoot threes, love to go to the basket, right? So if you're going to leave the lane open, and those two, probably two of the most athletic players in the NBA, going to go to the basket, then how are you going to protect the paint? It's not going to be Luka. Luka is not going to be in there. You won't have Kyrie's too small. Who else is going to be protect the paint? Washington is a good player, but he doesn't have the size. And you need the weak side help on the defense when you're playing, because if I beat my man, somebody got to come over. That's where the centers come in to block the shot or to affect the play. So it's going to be interesting, actually. It will be a good series. I'm looking forward to the series. I am not happy, but I'm happy about the time of the game because, as you know, the Jamaica game against Dominican Republic, as it moved tomorrow from 7:30 to 3:30. And people, I hope you join me tomorrow. I'm going to try to do a pre-game, in-game, and post-game assessment. Don't hold me to it, but I'm trying to think about doing it. I did set the stream up for it. I'm hoping to do that. I think it should be fun. So if you're around tomorrow, please join me to do the pre, in-game, and post-game. So the point I'm trying to make is because that game is now being moved, I can watch both games, right? Because I want to watch a final. So I can watch both games. And it should be good. I'm looking forward to watching Jamaica play first and winning, and then watching the Dallas versus Celtics game. And we'll see a lot from the first game as to what strategies these teams will employ or deploy and how that will work out for them, right? How will Dallas play against them? How do you match up against all the Celtics players, how explosive they are, their athleticism, and they're hard to defend. And moreover, they're good defenders. It's very rare where you have offensive players who have defensive capabilities at a high level. Right? That's why you hear people talk about Michael Jordan so much and Kobe so much, because they spend time defending well as much as they play offense. So it should be interesting to see how the series goes. So let me hear in the chat. I mean, a lot of fans seem to be picking, a lot of commenters seem to be picking Dallas, which to me is shocking. I thought more people would say Boston in 6 or Boston in 5 or Boston in 7. I don't think it'd be a sweep. But I think in the regular season, I think Boston won the games in the regular season. I may not have been that close, actually. Now, this is a different Dallas team, actually, because I think the second half of the season, they were 20 and something? I forgot, it was a low number. They won a lot of their games coming down to the end of the season. They peaked at the right time, which is what you want to do. And as such, I would expect that they give Boston a good series. But I would say I expect Boston to win the series. They don't have the best bench, frankly, but their starting 5, I'll call it their starting 6, Al Horford played quite a bit, especially when Porzingis was out, are difficult covers, difficult matchup, all play defense. And importantly, guys, they have stars on their team who are going to get calls. So a lot of time in the NBA, no matter what anyone tells you, the stars get away with a lot of stuff. Luka, much after the ref throughout the entire game, he complained, he whines, he's visceral in what he does, he's extravagant in how he operates in terms of waving his hand or trying to show up the ref. They don't give him technicals. Now, he's gotten technicals during the season, but in the playoffs, he hasn't gotten 2 technicals kicking him out of a game. Players with lesser reputation, referees have no tolerance. No tolerance. So we'll see what happens when you play against very good players like he's going to play against in terms of Tatum and Brown and others. And they're going to also be wanting to get the calls. Let's see how it works out. But we'll see. But Luka is a great player. He's played well. Kyrie has redeemed himself. Kyrie has gotten a lot of flack over the last few years. Well, not in the last few years, because Kyrie left Cleveland after winning the championship because he won his own team. And look, people, this is not unnatural for great players who want to get the credit they think they deserve, given what they contribute to an organization, right? So the view that, look, Kyrie left LeBron and that was a bad move, he thought he could get his own team, especially a young Boston team with a lot of talent, and be able to drive them to a championship, and it didn't work out. He got injured. It didn't work out. He then went to the Nets. He and Durant, I think they said the All-Star game, got together and said, let's go do this. And that was a disaster. And not only was that a disaster, because I mean, Durant is a good player. He won with Golden State, but it didn't work out well at Oklahoma. And then, the threesome didn't work actually in terms of how they operated. Kyrie had an issue in COVID as it related to taking the vaccine. Harding is just a difficult person, and he shouldn't. I'm not sure why people want to play with him, frankly. He bounced around from Oklahoma to Houston to Jersey to Philly, now back to LA. Good player, but I'm not sure he's the answer for any team. Frankly, doesn't deliver in the clutch. So it makes it really, really interesting, actually, when you think about it, as to Kyrie's redemption. And then Kyrie had the faux pas of posting something, even though he had no words to it, that seemed to have been anti a certain persuasion. And there's certain persuasions you don't cross because it's going to be hard to recover. And he did do that. Now, when he left Brooklyn, that club didn't want to trade. Team didn't want to trade for him, right? I think LeBron probably wanted him. I think they had some difficulty in their relationship, some strain when he left Cleveland, but they got over it. Bless Tony, thanks for joining. But I think at the end of the day that Mark Cuban, who's a very smart person and who made a ton of money when the internet was at its inception, formed some company that he got bought out for billions, and that's how he bought the Maverick. Does have a good way of, recognizing not only people's talent, but who they are. And he's indicated he spent a lot of time with Kyrie. First of all, he traded for Kyrie, so he took a risk, but I'm not sure he gave up a ton of assets to do so, because the Nets didn't get a ton of great assets. And then subsequent to that, they re-signed Kyrie because not a lot of teams want to pursue Kyrie. I think it's my understanding subsequent to all of this that the Lakers were interested, but they didn't go gung-ho. They probably didn't have the assets, but they didn't go gung-ho to get Kyrie. And he ended up back at Dallas. And look, we all mature with time. At least you'd hope that we all mature with time. Some people still don't, but most people do. And you become more conscious of your world, where you live, where you operate, how things are. And you also get more sophisticated intellectually. So what can I say or can't I say, right? Because that's important. What's going to be digested well, not digested well? Who am I talking about? And what's the influence of those individuals? And how can they affect me? All these things we've got to be considering. Tony's saying Steve Nail looked bad by criticizing Kyrie the way he did. Steve Nail is an interesting character. And over time, what happens is you get it's a colloquial term, large. You get caught up in terms of who you've become and who you are. But he's also in a corporate environment, and he speaks to that environment. He speaks to the majority sometimes because he tells them what they want to hear. He name drops a ton. Look, one thing about Steve Nail, you got to give him his credit. He's done a phenomenal job of branding himself, marketing himself, and he should be proud of his accomplishment, and others should be proud of him. And sometimes in the corporate environment, you may do and say things which you normally probably wouldn't. You may not even think that way, but you do because you're trying to win hearts and minds of those who are influential. And maybe that's how he felt about Kyrie, but I think he went overboard and may subsequently realize that, right? And he didn't say these things when he was a junior person. So you can't excuse that it's youth that drove me to say these things. You said it because that's how you felt. But it was toxic the way he spoke about Kyrie, frankly. He basically said he should retire. Now, obviously, there are different perspectives as to things like the vaccine. And my view is as individuals, we're trying to control our environment as much as possible. Meaning, if it's like abortion, I want to control my body as a person. And I don't want anyone to infiltrate my space, right? I want to control that. Because I can't control most things around me. I can't control if I walk on the street and somebody's driving recklessly. So the little you can control, I just control your body. And if you decide not to take a vaccine, I don't know why people want to kill him about that. It is his prerogative. It's his body. Now, the view was that if you don't take the vaccine, then you're gonna affect other people. Well, you should only affect those who didn't take the vaccine, because most people should take the vaccine. And that was a contradiction in the whole argument, which is, and my company did this. They fired people who didn't take the vaccine, which I thought was interesting. But they mandated that everyone took the vaccine. So if the only people who would be affected then are the people who decided to take that risk, and that's why it's a little bit contradictory in terms of, I get vaccinated, I shouldn't be affected by people who don't take the vaccine, but yet we mandate they take it, and they get fired if they didn't. The state did it in New York. A lot of companies did it, and mine was one of them. So Kyrie actually got a lot of flack from that. And then he did the unthinkable by posting that book that affected a certain persuasion. And he was deemed to be anti that persuasion. And that's where most of the flack came from, frankly. Bless up, Las Blancas. Thanks for joining. So I am very proud of Kyrie. I mean, and Kyrie was saying things like the earth was flat and all of that. And people got protected and all that. But Kyrie's not a dummy. Kyrie went to Duke University, one of the best universities in the country, close to being Ivy League. You hear Kyrie speak, he's very conscious. He's very socially conscious. Kyrie gave a ton of money to charitable causes. If you see the list of, and I probably should have brought that list today, of monies he gives out to charities, it's amazing. We're not talking about 10, 15, 20,000. We're talking about 1.5 million, 100,000, 25,000, 30,000. And that's after tax. So when people say something like, oh, Jaylen Brown making 300 million, you got to be very careful with those statements. Because yes, his contract may say 300 million over 6 or 7 years. But the more you make, the higher tax bracket you're in. So I bet Jaylen Brown doesn't take home half of that money. He won't take home 150. He probably take home less than 150, frankly. Now he's in Boston. In Massachusetts, they have taxes. If he's in California, it's even worse. Because in California, you get taxed about 12% if you're the highest earner. Your tax rate for the federal probably between 35 and 37%. You pay a certain amount for FICA. You add it up, and it's over 50% of your money. So you're not. It sounds good in the media. It sounds extravagant, but at the end of the day, it's still a ton of money. Don't get me wrong, but they're not taking them all that money. So when they give out the charity, we give $1 million to charity. It's $1 million after tax. You tax effect that. That's $3 million. It's a lot of money to give away. But that's Kyrie. So Kyrie should be commended and lauded for his charitable givings, but that's all superseded and is not recognized because of some of the other things he got involved in. Tony's talking about clever assets. Yeah, Jaylen Brown is a brilliant person, actually. Went to Berkeley, California. Got to offered internship at NASA. People said that he didn't get drafted by certain teams because, see, I'm digressing from the NBA Finals on people. You notice that, right? I didn't get drafted by certain teams because the team was going to be too smart and too challenging, which is really interesting, actually, where people are. They have some of these athletes, and or persuasion, they put them in boxes, right? Just shut up and dribble. That's what they want. So if somebody's a little bit smart, then they get concerned because they can't have that. I think it's the youngest vice president of the Players Association when he was like 22, right? The kid is a real genius, as Tony's alluding to, and such. People shy away from him, actually, because they don't want to be around geniuses. They don't want to be around people who are athletes and also have a brain and a mind and opinions, because it's going to challenge them, right? It's like running away from people. You should always have people smarter around you than you are, but they don't want that, which is really interesting. So it was the view that people didn't want to draft him, actually, because of what they deemed to be his intellect, which is shocking, actually. That's the case. But more power to him. He got paid, and he deserves to get paid because he's an excellent basketball player. And one of the things he set up for getting all that money, they asked him what he's going to do with all that money, was he wants to create a Black Wall Street in Boston, actually, which is aspirations. He needs more money than that. 150 doesn't do it. That's his entire paycheck. Contract 150. You need a lot more money, but you also need a lot more access. So it's not all about money, because sometimes you have money, you can't do anything with it. If in certain environment, right? You need access. You need access to other people's capital. You need access to marketplace. You need people like you, if you want to bring in people who are Black like you, to support you. And that's going to be a challenge, actually. So hopefully he's successful. I hope he will be. And I'm cheering for him because, a lot of times we see jocks who do things which are not appropriate. I think people like Brown are to be commended, to be lauded. They should get more recognition than they do today, frankly. A lot of times we recognize those who just give trouble and not the ones who are very productive and contributing to society. So hopefully we'll see more of Jaylen, what he's doing. And I expect them to win the NBA championship. So, and it's going to be an interesting final. It starts tomorrow. At least it's on primetime TV. And I just read yesterday, actually, that the NBA is signing a contract with ESPN, with NBC, and Amazon, which then means TNT with Charles Barkley and Ernie and the crew are going to be out. I'm sure they come back someplace. Amazon may hire them. But the contract is a 7-year contract or a 10-year contract, one of the two, for $70+ billion. That's mind-boggling, people. If you remember the NBA way back when, and even before my time, was NBA, ABA, and games weren't shown on TV. Then in the late 70s with tape delay, and then you have Magic Johnson and Labra come on the scene and start driving popularity, and it gets more. But then players were making a few $1 million. These players in these times who are very, very good are in the right time, right place, because the NBA is just printing money. That's just contracts. We're not talking about merchandising on other revenue streams that they have. That's amazing, actually. So if everything put together, at the end of the day, over that 7 to 10 year period, they probably end up with, think about all the other commercial revenues, maybe $100 billion over 7 to 10 years. Amazing numbers for a league, but the league is also changing. I'm not sure people realize this. At one point, the league was 80-something% African Americans. Now there are a lot of Europeans in the league, probably 30 something like that percent. So the league, the face of the league is changing, which is interesting. And we're seeing now the WNBA is also getting more popular, given Caitlin joining the league and her popularity in college. And the NBA is also working to support them more. So it's going to be interesting to see over time what happens. But the league is popular globally, getting more popular. The brand is very, very popular. NBA players are some of the most popular players in the world. So it should be interesting over time to see how things go. So now that's the end of my basketball comments, actually. I'll go into the football. And we'll talk World Cup qualifiers. I know there are a number of games on today. Some of the better teams like Trinidad playing Grenada, playing some of the better teams. I think St. Vincent playing St. Kitts. Number of games. And some people are doing watch along for those games. But it should be an interesting period, actually. Not sure there are going to be any upsets, frankly, if you think about those games. Tony asked, have I discussed the Man City legal case against the English Premier League? No, Tony, I haven't. And I don't know all the specifics. I know they are taking the Premier League to court. And the genesis of the whole litigation is around the Premier League sort of precluding you, is my understanding, from getting sort of, you can help me with this sponsorship from affiliates. So if you're Sheikh Mankir from Man City, you have a company, that company can't be sponsoring Man City, for example. So they want to change that. I think a lot of owners want to change that. My understanding is that you need the majority in the Premier League, even though it's 20 teams, 14 is the majority in some respects to get anything approved, and they probably have 14 votes to do so. So that may change, but it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very, very interesting how that works out. And they also have the 100+ charges that have been brought against them, even though I think a lot of those charges are duplicated. But what Man City does really well, people, when you have money and lots of money, you can change things significantly, right? I don't want to go to politics, but you see that in the U.S. with the former president. So when you have a lot of money, you can do a lot of things. And what Man City did brilliantly, because I think their charges are legit, if you see, because they were hacked. One of those things that came against them was hack stuff that people got inside information on them, that they were doing these things which were not in accordance with Premier League requirements and guidelines. So they were hacked, and they went to court with UEFA, and I don't think UEFA said they were not guilty, but they weren't penalized, right? They got away. Statute of limitation period, other factors. Then the Premier League took it over and have charged them. And I'm not sure why it's taking so long to bring this to closure, right? Because it's been going on for a while now. Now, we're supposedly have had, because I was listening to Talk Sport, supposed to have some decision as to when we're just going to be, maybe litigated or come to light, but it hasn't happened yet. So waiting to see what happened, but it's really interesting, actually, that we're still going around in circles related to Man City, and they've been in courts for years. These charges go back quite a bit. At some point, it becomes, here's the thing about when cases are hot, that's where you want to get on them. When they get cold, people have moved on. You look at the war in Ukraine. It was hot at one point. Even though people are dying every day, people have moved on. They have lives. So it's really interesting. Right. Tony saying, yeah, it's associated party transaction. So affiliate transaction, basically. Have an affiliate and you do business with them. That's not going to be allowed. And you know what's interesting? It's like you have your own company, but you can't support your company. I think the Premier League needs to reconsider that. It's not logical, and because they want the clubs to operate as separate, self-sustaining entity, but that's not life. That's not how life works. If I own an asset, I want to make sure that asset is a productive asset, and I can utilize that asset to benefit me and whoever else is the shareholders of that company. So I'm not sure why you can't help. No, I understand that they think that it disadvantage the lower teams who may not have that same financial clout and support, but you got to figure that out. You've allowed external parties outside of the UK be part of your ownership group. You've allowed this has become a global brand because of that, not despite that. It's because of that. You're now a global entity. You beat your chest that you're the best league in the world. You make the most money. The money gets trickled down. You complain it's not as much to your grassroots. whether it's the lower leagues or to your more junior team. So you're benefiting financially. Stop complaining and get over yourself and allow these people to do what they're doing, which is they should be able to support their team. Now, one could say, well, Cranky, that's hypocritical because that's not how the NBA works. Well, yes and no, because the NBA has what we call a luxury tax. I'm going to double the money you have to pay if you go over a certain threshold. So I'm going to collect more money and we can spread that money around. And maybe the Premier League should do that. You know what? If you have a certain budget, you can't spend more than 100 million, or you can't spend more than 70% of your revenues that you generate, or XYZ, you have to have XYZ enough profit, and you go over that, well, every dollar you go over, every pound you go over, which is like 1.25 or $1.2, you pay double that. So if Chelsea can only spend 70 million a year and they spend 140, then they spend 70 more, they pay 140 million pounds to the league. Right? Wouldn't that benefit everyone? And you can have it, because I know they're bringing the regulators in the UK. See, Tony, you have me go off on this, Tony. I know they're bringing the regulators in the UK, and the regulators are going to have no idea what they're going to do, because the question, would they run afoul of FIFA? It's just the local league. Because when regulators get involved, they just mess things up. They don't make it better a lot of times. So the regulators come in, what's going to happen? I think it'd be interesting. They may miss up a good thing. But if they come in, why wouldn't the concept be or the process be that I do this, which is, you know what? I'm just going to take more money from you since you have so much money to spend because you want to enhance your team. And I'll redistribute that money amongst the lower league teams and I'll bring and improve my grassroots football. Because money's pouring into your economy. I mean, you no longer have Brexit. You actually do need the dollars or the pounds to come into your economy. So why wouldn't you do that? Why would you be pushing hard back on this of owners spending their own money? I know the oil money is tough to deal with, right? Because you see what's happening in Saudi Arabia, in Qatar, in the Middle East, where they just seem to have a print money. Like a printing machine, they just print and spend between golf, between boxing. They pay ridiculous numbers. But I'll say this, I'm going off a tangent again, people. I can't myself. There's method to the madness. Because even though they may seem to be spending all this money and they seem like they're wasting money sometimes, look at Man City today. They spent a ton of money to get Man City where it is, sometimes not legally, based on the rules of the Premier League. But now they can be a self-sustaining club, frankly, because they built up such a global brand. They could be a self-sustaining club, which is really, really interesting. So they spend money to make money. And a lot of companies in the US, they get seed capital, whether it's Tesla, all these other companies you see, all these big companies that become big companies, the technology companies, they get seed capital from the Middle East. In a lot of instances. They have big shareholders. And so they could invest in 20 companies, 19 fail, and the one that does well, cover all those losses and make them a profit. So it's great for the Middle East, and it's in terms of what they're doing to get more prominence. And they've also recognized that their environment is not sustainable. What do I mean by that? They produce a lot of oil. It has destroyed their country and their environment, the environment. And they're trying to make their location a more destination location, right? So they're spending money for the future, in a sense, not just for the present. They're thinking ahead and say, you know what? 10, 15, 20 years from now, where we're going to be, we have to invest now. It may seem exorbitant, but it's a long-term strategy. And people got to understand, people think some of these people are not smart. Most of them went to the best schools in the US or in the UK. So they engage with the same people you see running countries, running major corporations. They engage with them. But anyway, I could talk about this forever. Let's go to, we're going to talk about the World Cup qualifiers and the Reggae Boys. Tony's saying the current rules ensure Stan Kroenke doesn't just get Walmart to sponsor Arsenal. Walmart is not, Walmart is a public company that's sponsoring Walmart. And Tony, I think he separated his money from his wife's money, right? He's married to a Walmart Harris. So I think their money is separated. He made his own money in a lot of different things like sports and real estate. And he's a billionaire by his own right. But I understand the concept, Tony. But why are you trying to do that? It's his company. It's his entity. It's his football club. Why, if he wants to improve them and spend a lot of money, which the UK can benefit from, why wouldn't they want to do that? Or is they trying to? It's a protected environment where they're trying to ensure that every single team in the UK have I wouldn't call it equal chance, have a good chance of getting to the Premier League and doing well there. I don't know. it's set up for the Big Six, Tony, because the contrarian view is this: Arsenal, Tottenham nowadays, Man City nowadays, Manchester United. Global brands generate a lot of commercial revenues. If you don't have the construct where owners can help put some money in the club, they're always going to be dominant. Because as we've talked about, Tony, in the past, the teams with the most money seem to be the ones who always do well. Now, you may have aberrations in terms of Man U this year and Chelsea this year, but look in Germany with Bayern, look in La Liga with Barcelona and Real Madrid, look in France with PSG. If you have money, you'll do well, right? So that's protecting them, because you can't compete with them, because you can't generate enough revenues through commercial activities or payouts you get from Champions League or the Premier League to compete in an environment where player salary, transfer fees have escalated. So it's interesting times, actually. All right, peeps. So now I'm going to go to the Jamaica team, and maybe you guys can help me as we go through this, consider what the team should be for the World Cup qualifier against the Dominican Republic. Now, by the way, some people are concerned about Jamaica against Dominican Republic. I know behind the scenes, they are doing really well. They're very focused on developing their football, right? They're getting guidance from Spain or coaches from Spain to help them. You saw us playing the more junior tournament, and they did well against us, both in the women's, more on the men's side, but more on the women's side. But they're ranked 150 in the world. Let me repeat that. Last time I checked, they're ranked 150, and we're in the 50s. So if we can't beat a team, which is probably 100 places below us, then we should be playing football. We should not be playing football. Bless up, lab. Let me repeat again, we should not be playing football. If we can't beat Dominican Republic, even though we have injuries and people are not involved, between the Pinnocks and the Baileys, Amari Bells, they're out. We see Burke has just dropped out recently. We see Gray's injured. Kind of interesting how people are injured. We're going to be available for Copa America, but not for the qualifiers. That's a thing for a different day. But at the end of the day, we should be beating this team, no matter who we put on the field. So hopefully that's the case tomorrow. Now, as I think I said earlier, the game time has been changed from 6:30 Jamaica time, 7:30 U.S. time, to 3:30 Jamaica time, which is 4:30 U.S. time. Now, my understanding is that the JFF knew about this before it was publicized. I don't have any means of substantiating this. I think I was told today by someone that it may have been on the CONCACAF site that the game was going to be at 4:30 U.S. time, 3:30 Jamaica time. But if that's the case, and I don't want to go into this too much until I have more factual information, that would be negligence on the JFF part. So let's hope that's not the case, right? Because it's not okay. Because there's a lot of different things that's connected to timing, right? We have been in this space, YouTube another space, and they hired this 876 marketing team focusing on trying to how we generate excitement in the team and bring fans to the stadium. Right? How do we bring fans to the stadium? Because, frankly, fans have not been turning up for the games for the Reggae Boys. They just have not been turning up. In fact, the game between Mount Pleasant and Cavalier, which was a local JPL championship game, brought in 20,000 people. You can't give away tickets for Jamaica games. And if you give away tickets, people are still not coming. Because some people complain that, people don't have the financial resources to go to games. And that may be the case. But if you get the ticket free, all you got to figure out is transportation. And transportation is not that terrible if you take public transportation. That's people may not want to do that. But I don't understand the concept and the idea that you get free tickets and you don't want to go to the game. And you're supposed to be a national. You're supposed to love your country. You want to support the team. You want them to win. You got to go to the stadium. There's nothing like fans in the stadium calling your name, right? Nothing like that. So my hope is that's going to be difficult tomorrow, because one of the suggestions being made in a lot of the media space was that employers should convince corporations and employers to allow fans to get out early to go to the games. Now, if the game is 6:30 and a lot of people leave work at 5 o'clock, it's possible. Or I could leave at 4. When it's 3:30, now which employer going to say, hey, don't go deliver the thing them today. Deliver them tomorrow. and you can leave work at 12 o'clock. That's not happening. So that's a big loss for them, and this should have been figured out. My understanding is the lighting in the stadium that's the problem. I don't know why that wouldn't have been fixed a long time ago. It wasn't a yesterday thing. It wasn't a day before yesterday thing. It's known a long time ago. So it's just surprising. XLR8 says it's going to be 2-1 and it won't be comfortable either. I don't know a lot about the Dominican Republic team. You know what's interesting, people? I went online to do some research on Dominican Republic. Like looking for a needle in a haystack. If you go on their website, you see a lot about their junior team. You see a lot about their women's team. You see a little about their men's team. I don't know what that's about, actually. Well, sorry, every day you're right. I'm parochial Easterner. I'm in New York, so if I say U.S. time, I mean Eastern Standard Time. And you know, New York, the USA is New York every day. You may not think so. You may be in California 3 hours different, but yeah, it's Eastern time. So it's so you want time. So let me get the time. It is 4:30 here in New York, which then means it's 1:30 out in California, which then means in Chicago, it's 1 hour difference between us and Chicago. So it's 3:30 Chicago time. And then there's Mountain time, which probably another 2 hours. So you can do the math and figure it out. But yes, you're right. It's not USA time. I was talking about Eastern Standard Time, which is what most people use anyway, and then you calculate from that. But hopefully it's not a good game, meaning we just destroy them. But I don't get the sense that people feel that's going to be the case. I think seems to be a lot of nervous people when it comes to how we'll play against Dominican Republic, especially since we're missing some of our more renowned players, right? But Antonio should be there. Nicholson should be there. Lowe should be there. Hector. And you know what? As I talk about that, maybe I can try to see if I can post up the squad. I think there are 2 changes to the squad. Maybe I can share my screen and post the squad. I'm not seeing it here, right? So this is the squad. Let me take this off. This squad, hopefully you can see it. Now, there are 2 players who were changed in this team. I think Burke is out. So, and I have communication here talking about those players. So 2 players are in. Fabian Reed and Goodell Irving are in. I know Burke is out. I'm not sure the other player who's out. But this is the squad as it is. As you can see, I just read them out. I'm not sure it's clear on the screen. I hope it is. But we have, I would expect and we can do the squad builder and walk through this, but you can see we have good goalkeepers, actually. All these goalkeepers are good goalkeepers, and I'm confident in each of them. I think Dexter may be not in for this game. I think he has yellow card, so he'll be out for this game. But if you watch our game against the U.S. between, Bernard and Lowe and Hector, good defenders. Greg Lee also on the left. Lati can also play defense actually. Lati Bodier. So I think we're in a good place. Even though I don't see Lati on my list here, which is interesting. Actually, I thought he was here. So we have a decent number of players here in the defense. In the midfield, and Speed and I talked about this yesterday because I interviewed Rudolph Speed yesterday. We don't produce good midfielders. And maybe I should use the word good. We don't produce excellent midfielders, period. If you go back 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 years, how many world-class players who play at the highest level play midfield for Jamaica have played for us? Now, if you look at forwards, Peter Shilton, Fuller, even Lowe's father was a good forward. And other players who were born in Jamaica, I mentioned this yesterday, Raheem Sterling, John Barnes, born in Jamaica but played for England. We produce a lot of good forwards. Even Trinidad. You think about Stern John, you think about Dwight York. But we don't produce midfielders of a world-class level. I know Latipi played for Trinidad and played in Scotland, but if you look at midfield, you don't see those quality players playing in midfield, which is amazing, actually. Because we keep talking about athleticism, and midfield is where you have to make quicker decisions, I think, when probably any other place on the field. We don't produce those kind of midfielders that we need to produce for us to excel. And even though we have decent midfielders here, if you look at this list, nobody truly stands out. Right? If you look at the forward line, you can say, Well, I have Gray, who has played really well. You have Bailey. You have Antonio, right? You have a number of players. Shamar has done really well. Cephas has done well. But if you, and even nowadays we have Nicholson and Cephas who are played overseas and are playing decent in some respects. You look at the midfield, it's like blasé actually. So that's not a good thing. And the question is, and this is about coaching actually. That's why I was very pleased what Rudolph said last night about trying to improve the coaching, getting them accredited, so that because you need coaches to teach these players so they can operate and play the right way and maximize their abilities, their natural abilities. And if you look at the English-speaking Caribbean, you can't point to too many midfielders and say those are excellent midfielders, which is kind of sad actually. So hopefully over time that will change. Now, what I would like you to do is work with me to build what you think will be the starting team. So I'll take this off the screen and I'll try to pull up squad builder here and you can also call in people. The phone lines are open. You see the number running across the stream? Yeah, I've been doing all the talking for the last hour. So you can call into the phone. Hopefully it's working because I haven't checked it today, but I'm sure the number should be working. So give me a call and let's talk. Let's talk, actually. If I can be here talking, you can help me in how we're communicating here. So you can dial the number. It's 347-728-8625. And what we can actually do is I can put up, I'm trying to do here, the squad builder, and we can walk through what you think the team, and my screen here is frozen. You can't see what's in the background. We can put through here what a team is supposed to be. But I do think actually that this team should be enough to do well against a Dominican Republic team, which is not the most known team actually. It's not the most known team. And if we can't beat this team, then Lord, I'm gonna make that statement. Lord help us. I don't know why we should be able to beat this team. But I'm gonna put up the squad builder, and then we can you can help me put the team together. Actually, so what team would you like to see go out tomorrow? Given the available players, you can't call any Bailey, you can't call any Pinnock because they're not here, right? What team would you like to see put up on the screen? And some names are not in here, by the way, people. So there's no Blake, and they may not have some of the players on here to be able to put up here, but we'll use a pseudo name to cover that. One law saying our playing styles does not allow our midfielders to develop. Long ball style efface our midfielders from the game. Yeah, and the question is why, but the midfielders are on the field, they're playing. And, Rudolph and I had, the concept, I think, for Jamaica over time has been this, which is we're athletic, so therefore you get to the goal, the opposition goal as quickly as possible, which was be speedy. You play the ball, if you play the ball long, we get on the end of the ball, you can score, right? We're skillful, we're quick. Today's football, some teams still play that way, some countries still play that way, but most people are trying to realize that if I have the ball and you can't get the ball, I can't lose the game, right? If I have the ball and you can't get the ball, you can't lose the game. Now, Tough Rudy says it might sound strange, but I would give Dixon due to the game time to run at them for the first half. This coach is I'm going to call him an old school coach, in my view. I'm going to talk about the coach at some point because can't say I've been overly impressed. But his results have been good, at least against his results have been good. I shouldn't say against the lower team because we beat Canada, which I thought was miraculous, and we did draw. We should have beaten the U.S. frankly, if not for a slight lapse or a really bad mistake. Unfortunate for Burke, but we should have beaten the U.S. even though they were a better team on that day. Seriously. But giving Dixon a game, that's an interesting one. He's young. He's impressionable. Is he ready for a World Cup qualifier at this stage? Has he shown enough to have him start? I probably would bring him on, actually, versus starting him. I think that those young players got to watch the game, how it's evolving, how it's going. they can see how the game is going if they're paying attention, and can instruct them what to do. I'm not sure I would start Dixon, but Tuffy, really understand your perspective. Actually, young kid, talented, and more to come from him. Actually, King Jav says, and King Jav looked like he's a bodybuilder. This is sad, man. The stadium could honestly be empty tomorrow. Yes. Well, I'd be shocked if the stadium is not empty tomorrow. I mean, think about it. It's 3:30 in the middle of the day on a Thursday. It's not even Friday where people may leave work early. So it's Thursday. It is shocking that we're at this place. And it's shocking that the National Stadium, and I'm surprised because didn't we have athletic events being held at the stadium over the last couple of months? And weren't some of those later in the evenings? I don't know, but it's surprising that we're at this point where lighting is the rationale or the reason as to why we have to play the game in the middle of the day. People, in Jamaica, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, in June, is not normal weather. I didn't say that Jamaica is not normal. If you're British born, you're Jamaican national now, and you used to a weather which you only see sun 1 month of the year, July. It short head in August, it disappears in August. Some point in August, where you have the what's the name, carnival, it disappears. So you only get a month and a little bit of sun. That's why British people go Morocco and Barcelona, all those countries, so they can get some sun and they'll look pale for the rest of the year. So you're not used to a ton of sun. And you have the sun baking down on you. And I think they said this in the World Cup qualifier against Panama during COVID, that, you know what, they were out of energy in that game. Especially some of the UK-based players who came to play, they were out of energy. So it's shocking that we're at this place. It's disappointing. And frankly, it puts us at a significant disadvantage. But there's nothing worse than a tired player on a football field. So many people, let me see your team. Let me see your team. Please post your team, who you think the player should be. Let me see your team. I have some ideas, but I prefer to see your team that you think should be here, and hopefully hopefully we can get those players in. But let me see what team you're thinking and what formation you're thinking. Actually, see, I have out here a 4-4-2. Let me know what formation you're thinking. What formation you think that we should play, and what you think the team should be. No teams. Come on, people. I know that you have ideas. All of you are football people. All right, I'm gonna put up who you think should be in the. You know what? I'm just gonna put some name up there. You can tell me if I'm wrong. So I'm gonna put Nicholson up first. I'll put Nicholson. Put Shamar. So why am I getting an error message here? Let me try again. So let me see in the chat what team. Okay, so you're saying 4-2-3-1. Wait, hold on. Let me go back out. 4-2-3-1. So they have 4-3-2-1. That's what Everyday Living is saying. And then Everyday Living is. You said 4-4-3. Oh, okay. Let's try 4-2. I think he plays 2 forward, but we can try the 4-3-2-1. Try the 4-3-2-1. Now I assume that Antonio is up top. That I think goes without saying. If he's healthy. You know, Antonio is always injured. Hate to say it. I don't know why my system is acting up. Maybe I'm not spelling people's name right. Something is wrong here, people. I'm not getting the names right. Why am I not? It worked earlier today because I tested it out. And if you want to call in too, you can call in. None of these names are working. Let me just say something. I'm not sure what happened to my system. I may have to refresh. Let me refresh. Something's happening with this. It's coming with a cat on this thing. This is a disaster here. Okay. All right, let's go with. Let me just put Leon Bailey in and see if it's my system. Okay, he comes up, so it's better now. So let's think about what a team should be. So what team you're proposing, Everyday Living? It's starting to work now. What team are you proposing? Let me know what team you guys are proposing. Who you think should play where? Let's start with goalkeeper, actually. Let's start with goalkeeper. Who you think should be in goal? I figure it's Jamal Wait, but let me know who you think should be in goal. Any proposal of who should be in goal? Anyone? Or do I just go with what's here? No? Maybe? All right. Let me go with Wait. Now, Wait may not be here, actually, is my understanding. I thought I saw somebody do that today. It says James Wait. Let's just go with James Wait because I don't think Jamal is here, actually. Yeah, he's not there. So we're going to put someone of a different persuasion in the goal. It's Jamal Wade, people. I could have put someone else here, like Boyce Clark, but I'm gonna put a Wade there. You know what? Maybe I'll put Boyce Clark here. You know, I really don't want to do that. I'm gonna put Kanaya here. Yeah, I think I would agree with you, actually. And frankly, one law, not only should he be the keeper because Blake is no longer is injured, but he has played well when he has played. So Drew Ross is saying Greg Lee, Greg playing left back, which makes a lot of sense. So I'm smiling, looking at. No, I think John Bell is out actually. I think Bell and Burke are out, so we got to think about another right back. I think Hector would probably be on the left, given that Pinocchio is no longer here. Pinocchio is not here for this series. You say Bernard here. Where is Bernard? Dijon. And then so right back is an interesting place actually because it may have to be, is that Gray? And that's not Dijon Gray actually. Even though I've seen him play, he's okay. Now, who do you say in the midfield? Who do we think should be popular in the midfield for us? Anybody? Who do you think should be in the midfield? Let me see who you think should be in the midfield for us, actually. In the midfielders, we have Casey, we have Keroy, we have Bobby Reed, we have Daniel Johnson, Alex Marshall, Adrian Reed, and Kevin Lambert. So who do you think should be in the midfield? Who should play the two wide midfielders, or two deep midfielders, actually? So you're saying Keroy, okay. Yeah, it should be interesting whether he plays Keroy or not. Keroy mainly come off the bench. Keroy may not be here, you know. I thought he was, actually. No, he's not showing up. Let me just do Anderson, see who comes up as Anderson. Is Javon Anderson? I don't see Keroy here, actually. So Keroy, let's do Javon here. Just he's Keroy, but I like to have the name. But I don't see Keroy, but that's Keroy Anderson. And Drew Ross says Low. So people, let me hear this. You think Low should be in the midfield? I'm curious about that. Keroy is there? I didn't see him actually. So let me try again. I might spell his name out. I think it's Keroy, right? It says no results found. I don't see him. Let me just do Anderson then. It should pop up all the Andersons. I thought he was there though, because I know I've had him there before. Anderson. So I see Javon, Andre, Donnie. Or is it that they have that as his first name? K. So I start with a K. You got to be here someplace. Let me just look through this. No, I don't see Keroy here actually. Anderson, Cruz, Anderson. They have this is mainly first name though. No, I don't see Keroy. So we're gonna stay with Javon for the moment. But you guys know that's Keroy. And then as technically saying Lambert. You think Lambert should be in the midfield? Who thinks Lambert or Low? Let me just see in the chat what you think. Lambert or Low? Which one you think should be in the midfield? You know, I think the coach is going to play low, frankly, because he's got to play low someplace. Either he plays him in the defense or plays him in midfield. And frankly, I think Bernard and Hector played well together, so it'd be hard to break up a tandem. So I'm gonna put it low since someone suggested this. I know that others may think it should be Lambert, but let's put Damien there. And then out wide, I'm gonna put Bobby Reed here. I think that goes without saying. And who do we have out wide here? Who do we play left? That's an interesting decision, actually, as to who plays out wide on the left. Is that Cephas? Who plays out there? Is that one of the, is that Kahim, who there's more center forward? Who do you think plays on the left, people? Right is Bobby. Who goes left? Give me a name, actually, as to who you think should play on the left in this game. We have a number of players here. And you also have, you got to think about it, even in midfield, no one talks about DJ, but DJ is there, So we're playing Keroy, we're playing Damien. I think the coach may go DJ versus going Keroy, actually. But I think Keroy is a better defender. So you're saying Cephas out left, right? So Ronaldo Cephas. So Cephas is here. So they don't have a picture of Cephas. And then up front, I'm just going to put the names in. You guys can tell me if I'm way off on this. I'm going to say Mikel up top. I'm going to say Nicholson beside him. Because I'd be shocked if the coach doesn't do this. Play Shamar. So what do you think about this team, people? Is this a good team? It's a very, as Drew was saying, it's a very experienced team. It's a team that a lot of these players, maybe apart from Cephas and maybe Tejan, have played quite a bit of time for the national team today. And maybe Keroy, if Keroy is the person who gets the opportunity to play. So what do you think of this team, actually? Let me get your perspective. You think this is going to be the team? And if so, do you think this team can win easily? Not just win, but win easily. What do you think? So Drew Ross saying this is the team he has. Who else? Is this a team? One Law, King Jav, others were in the chat. Is this a team you think should be the team? And how would you expect this team to do? As I said at the outset of this, Jamaica is ranked in the 50s. And the Dominican Republic is ranked, my last check, I could be wrong on this, 150. That's a huge gap. Every day living is saying he get a team at 8.5. So every day, how does one get a 10 for this team? So the grading is based on available players, right? Not who we think our best team is. It's based on available players. So who do you think, frankly, should be here that shouldn't be here? The team has good defenders. The team has very, very good offensive players in between Bobby, Cephas, Nicholson, and Antonio. And what I talked about earlier about the midfield, it rears its head again. Because Lowe is not a traditional midfielder. Keroy is young. DJ is a good player, but defensively he's challenged. Lambert is decent, but I'm not sure he's at this level. So it's tough in the midfield, actually. Right? It's tough. I think defensively, I think Hector has been, I don't want to use too many larger terms, but he's been excellent, frankly. I was going to say phenomenal. Maybe going a little overboard a little bit, but he's been excellent. I watched him when I went out to Texas play the 2 games. Composure on the ball, read the game well, positionally really, really good. Passing out the back, really good, whether it's the long ball finding its destination or playing his midfielders in the game. And Bernard has been physical, athletic, has played well. Bless up Ty. So I would expect, and people, as you come in, just hit the chat like button. I would expect that that defense will be solid. Greg Lee has played really well. Greg Lee is extremely athletic. Tejan, still to be decided, right? The jury's still out on Tejan, actually, if he's the one who gets to start. And the coach could go 3 at the back, actually, right? There's a possibility. He could go 3 at the back. The three at the back work, and I think he used three at the back more against the better teams. So play against the US, play against Panama, teams who are good offensively. You want to protect your goal really well and play on the counter, which we do decent, actually. The player that also impressed me, even though he didn't score, but he had a chance to score, was Cephas, actually. I think he has a lot of ability, by the way. He just needs to have much more composure in front of goal and something of the ball. He's quick, he's skillful, he has energy. I think he has some of the key attributes to make him a very good player. And I think he should get more game time with the national team. Even more than some other players, actually, who are more short in being picked. As technically saying, cranky plumbers should do plumbing work. Defenders defend. Midfielders play midfield. You like telling me plumbing. You told me about plumbing the other day, S-Technic, when I was struggling on my first podcast, my first solo podcast on my channel. And I was having some problems saying I'm having plumbing issues. So you live the plumbing analogy. But look, I've said this before a number of times. I think we're missing an opportunity sometimes to put our best players on the field. What do I mean by that? So, and I've said this numerous times. I'm repeating myself, but if you have up front for Jamaica, for example, Nicholson, Antonio, Gray, Cephas, Bailey, Bobby Reed, you're talking about 6, 7 very good players. But only 4 can play, right? If you play 4 up top. If you play 2 center forwards and 2 wingers, or you play a 10 and Bobby played a 10, I think we got to reconsider that and consider, well, you know what? Maybe we play Gray in the 10, because first of all, Gray doesn't like to run back, and you can hide in the 10 from defending. You just can. You can hide. You can go sit beside the CDM all game and look like you're defending. You're not doing anything. So that's something that should be thought about, because I think he's a brilliant passer, frankly. He can shoot with either foot. He's comfortable on the ball. And that's what you need from your 10. 10 has vision, play the ball between the line, can score a goal here, can set up his forwards. And then you can play a Cephas out left and a Bailey out right and play Bobby Reed maybe in that right back, because you want his contribution and you want him on the field because he gives a lot. But and what justify or substantiate my view is that I watched Iwobi, who used to play for Arsenal and was a forward and really couldn't score goals. I'm not sure was playing on the wing, go to Everton, and by some default, I think they had 10 men on the field. He went to play midfield, did phenomenally well. He's not a midfielder. The better example, frankly, is Joey Linton, who came from Germany to Newcastle, couldn't score a goal to save his life, even though he's a good player center forward. Someone got injured for Newcastle. No, they went out to 10 men. I think they had a red card. And they put him in the midfield. He's a stalwart in the midfield. No one can tell me they've ever thought of him as a midfielder, Joey Linton. None. Big, clumsy, didn't seem to be the most athletic. End up in midfield, brilliant midfielder. Because he works hard. He has awareness, positional awareness, and spatial awareness. He can make a pass. He can go by a player. He's good in the air. So you have a lot of attributes which seem like they're forward attributes, but the thing he couldn't do is score goals, so why is he playing up front? But he's being phenomenal playing for Newcastle in the midfield. So my view is we pigeonhole players because they do well in certain positions, and they seem to have certain physical attributes and other attributes which suggest they can't play something else. But try them there and see what happens. It may not work. It may bomb, but you can take those liberties against certain teams. Yes, Rob Smith. Boyce Clark is there because we can't find weight in the database, actually. That's why Boyce Clark is there. We can't find weight. But the fact of the matter is, and people, as you come in, just hit the like button. And the more important thing, you need to subscribe, people, because I mean, I have the 5 and 6 subscribers. We need more subscribers. Come on, man. Tell your mom, tell your dad. You can have 3 and 4 tablets at your house, and you have iPhone, you have smart TV. And just subscribe now. Press the button and subscribe now. And if your dog can also watch a TV and make dog just press the button, give them my email number and then press the button. All right? Just subscribe, man. Build up the subscriber list. Encourage me. Come on, encourage me. We need the encouragement. But anyway, I'm getting a call, people. I'm getting a call. Hello. You're calling Cranky Live. Who am I speaking to? Hello?
Yeah, man, Cranky. Welcome. Well, congrats on the new show.
Appreciate it. Who am I speaking to?
Vinsky, man. So I was partaking
Vinsky,
in a
yes,
comment.
sir, in the chat. And can you guys hear Vinsky, everyone? I'm going to make sure that people in the comment section can hear you. So can you hear Vinsky? You come across very clear to me actually. So hopefully they can hear you. But what's your
Okay,
thought?
perfect.
What's your thought, Vinsky?
No, your team look good.
Okay.
Your team look good. My concern is really the right back. Tavon Gray, I think, has been a little bit inconsistent. I understand that he hasn't gotten a chance to start a lot of games, but the few times he came on, especially in the last game, I'm not sure. Well, I saw some reports that he was just recovering from some injuries. But that play where he was trying to dribble out the ball and dribble the ball off the court, I think kind of contributed to us losing that game against the USA. But other than that, given the squad that we have, I think the team is pretty decent. Who we have in the midfield?
In the midfield, we have Lowe and K. Roy Anderson. And outside of those two, we have Cephas on the left and Bobby Reed on the right. So it's a 4-4-2.
So you wouldn't start Palmer and then bring on Kiroy afterwards as a playmaker?
Well,
to go with Lowe.
Well, this is not my team. This is the commenters' team. This is not.
No, because we need some playmaker on the pitch. No.
Yes, I put Casey Palmer, and you're probably right. If we're gonna pick the team, the coach is gonna pick. Look, people like K. Roy Anderson. Whenever he comes on the field.
No, he's good.
Yeah, he shows something, right? Yeah.
He does, but I guess Kira as well. He hasn't got enough time in order to showcase his skill set.
Right.
And I feel like every time.
Sorry, I think they're saying that Palmer is on suspension. I think actually.
Oh, Iman. Okay, Iman. Lembekisa.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That makes sense. So yeah, we have to put back. We have to put. Oh, yeah. That makes it a little tricky. All right, so Kiroy, I would love for him to be a little bit more composed. I think the previous times he was introduced to the game, he seems a little bit anxious. I don't know if he's trying to prove to the coach or just trying to get it right. But if he can be a little bit more calm, a little bit more composed, I think we can get a better game out of him. But overall, yeah, your team look good. And I don't know much. My only concern, I've never seen Dominican play, the Dominican Republic team. I've never seen them play a game. So I think most of us are going into this game blind. What's your take on that?
No, I would agree. And as I said as part of this discussion this evening, that I went to do some research on Dominican Republic. Like looking for a needle in a haystack. I can't find it. Even on their own website, they have a lot about their women's team, their junior team. Limited or anything about their men's team. If you see something about the men's team, it's probably about some player who plays someplace in the US and gonna be part of the organization. But I didn't see a lot about them. What you saw, there were articles saying they're investing in their football program quite a bit.
Okay, so it's in their it's in the beginning stage. And yeah, you can also recruit a lot of players, but they have to learn how to build that cohesiveness and learn how to play together. Right. So, this team has been our team. We have been playing for a while, together. Some players in and out, but yeah, I'm expecting at least a 3-goal win for Jamaica tomorrow.
Well, they rank 150. So, as I said, we can't beat a 150 ranked team with this team. Then we never play football.
My concern, we just don't know how. Look at Nicaragua. Was it Nicaragua we played? One of those teams that rank way down there. Right. And we played them, and they were moving the ball pretty well.
Well, no, if you play a Central American team, no matter who they are, they live football, right?
Right.
Republic probably a little bit more for track and baseball than they are for football. So it'd be interesting to see what happens. But having said that, my understanding that they're leveraging Spain to help with their football program. They're hiring Spanish coaches, and what Spanish coaches do, because Speed and I would argue about this, but Spanish coaches to me are dominating world football. If you look in the Premier League, for example, the best coaches or the best managers come from Spain. Right. They have the most UEFA League A license in terms of coaches, or the top of the UEFA top license. Most of them, Spain has the most per capita of any country in Europe, and they're exporting that talent, and they're exporting some of that talent to Dominican Republic. So we'll see what happens. But
yeah, but
I haven't seen them play.
With that said, it takes time to develop, right?
Yes.
So you can have, it's not like they're at the foundation level and they're trying to build. So yeah, with that said, if we sense the fact that they don't have that cohesiveness and they're still trying to get into the rhythm, I think we should exploit that, given the fact that, this team or most of the players on this team, they have been playing for a while. So I expect a positive result come tomorrow.
Okay. Well, thanks. I appreciate it. Anything else you want to say before you go?
No, man. I'm just keep up the good work, and
Okay.
that was a great interview with Speed that you did yesterday. I watched the replay. I didn't catch it live, so that was a great interview. And welcome to the space. Well, your own show. You have been on the space, but well, well, well. Congrats on having your own show, and I wish you nothing but best on as you move forward.
I appreciate it. I hope you like and subscribe, and I hope you continue to view my show and to help me in terms of growing this channel. So I appreciate it.
I already did, 100%. All right.
Bless you.
I'll tune in and continue to listen.
All right. Thanks for calling.
All
Appreciate
right,
it.
bye.
All right, bye. Yes, everyone. That's Vinsky. So one last Cranky put up my channel, so I put up my channel. I put up your team. So you have Cephas, Antonio Shamar, Bobby Reed, Johnson. So you want DJ and Lambert in the midfield. So what are you doing? So you have Low in the midfield. So who are you taking out? But come on. Who am I missing here? Let me see. Antonio, Cephas. Oh, you have Anteva. So you're gonna put that right back, one lab. Before we put up a team, because only a few players are missing. Who are you putting that right back? Let me know your right back. One law. I'll put up Johnson, but I'm sure where to put Johnson. Okay, if you have Damian Lowe and Lambert, are you putting Lowe at right back? Are you putting Bernard at right back? Who are you putting at right back? Because Hector can't play right back and our left back. It's not Hector Forte. So before I take down your team, one law, come back to me and tell me who you putting at right back. Bless up Nitro. Thanks for joining. And Nitro, me here, Nitro, that was a boy, cranky start, shocking. Well, I've been talking about this for a while, Nitro, to big up interest in Nitro. You can't just jump on the channel and say, So I appreciate you being here, though, Nitro. Subscribe and like and do all those things. I appreciate you being here. So Law, can you tell me, or is it what someone is saying is that he's using 3-5-2. Okay. So let's go to 3-5-2. Even though here they have they don't have 3-5-2 hold up. They have 5-3-2, and maybe that's the concept they're using. They don't have a 3-5-2, so let's try maybe they have that's interesting actually. They don't have a 5-3-2 actually, but I'll make it 3-5-2. So you have these up, 3 here, and our Cephas in the middle. We'll change this. We'll put Cephas out wide. So then you're saying, so then you're gonna play Low, Bernard, and Hector at the back. So, and Gray Lee we play over here. We'll have to change Gray and put Bobby Reed up. So let me do this. So we have Waite, we have Bernard, we have Hector. No, why am I changing this? And bring Low down here. So who you play on the left of the back 3? Law, you're playing Low or you're playing, it's got to be Bernard. And Low only plays on the right. And I'm not sure Low has a great left foot, actually. And then you're saying you want to play Lambert, Johnson, and Lee. So Lee's here. I don't see a 3-5-2 in the formation chart here. And these are pre-formatted, so I have to work with what I have here. So we have Lambert. I have to change Gray and make him who? Johnson. Daniel. You still have Cephas and Antonio. Let me switch these positions. Lambert plays in here. And then we have Nicholson. Yeah. So who am I missing? Is this what you're thinking? I don't see. Yeah. Is this what you're thinking? It doesn't look the traditional 3-5-2. Just think about Greg Lee being here, and here you have Bobby Reed. Is that what you're thinking? So you're having Bobby Reed play out wide with Greg Lee, and you have Cephas, Lambert, and Daniel Johnson. Interesting team. What do you think about this team, people? Is this a better team than the previous one? Because we have plugged Keroy in there. We have plugged Low in the midfield. But I'm getting from Law that maybe Low should go back into the defense. which probably make it a little bit stronger. Bobby Reed plays out right, which probably almost playing the entire right line, actually. So you're saying no? Drew Ross is saying, why no, Drew Ross? You're concerned about the right back position, I guess? Why are you saying no? By the way, people, my show is 2 hours or less, not 2 hours or more. So just want to throw it out there. So if you want to call in, you should call in between now and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Jamaica time. I don't do the 3 hour, 4 hour thing. I get more seasoned, can't manage it. But yeah, tell me if you think it's a good team. Look, it's not a bad team, right? Bobby Reed can play right back. It's a more attacking formation, given the quality of the players. Greg Lee can go up and down the line. Bobby Reed can go up and down the line. Johnson's offensive-minded. Cephas is very good offensively with the two forwards. And all 5 of them play defense. And Lambert can play center half or play CDM. So even though a lot of people some people may not want Lambert in the team. So what do you think of this team? I know Drew Ross is saying no. Jeremiah is saying no. I guess there's a pushback. Are you saying no, Drew Ross and Jeremiah, because you think there should be a right back in the team? A definitive right back? Are you saying no because you think Lambert should be in the team and we should have another midfielder like K-Roy in the midfield? Let me know what you think. Because as people I've said before, which I'd forgotten, Palmer is suspended. We all know Lambekizi is suspended. And we have a bunch of other players out. So do you think this team would work in some way, shape? And if it is, what's the deficiency? And people, the phone line is open. And you see I have the number running across the stream. 347-728-8625. Vinsky, thanks for calling. That always helps when people call on the show and express their perspective. That's always appreciated. So, and people also give some comments. You know, say, boy, I see no comment on my hat. You see me hat, people. I may have my logo on my hat. You see me have the logo thing match up my back. You no comment, you know. Boy, I don't know. When we talk too much and not observe, give me some feedback, man. The only way you can improve if you get feedback, you know. But anyway. Jeremiah saying Bobby will not do well running in the heat. You know what, Jeremiah? Great point. Great point. Not only Bobby, Jeremiah. More people. Greg Lee, Bobby, maybe less or so Hector, Bernard, Antonio. Heat, not Greek, them people don't do well enough. They're not used to the heat. The coach may have to think about, someone mentioned earlier starting Dixon. The coach may have to think about what's going to be a substitution pattern, because these players should not play 90 minutes. Quite a bit of them, actually. So what is substitution pattern going to be? Oh, Drew Ross, you comment on it, Drew Ross. So what's your comment on my logo, Drew Ross? I try to match it with what I have in my virtual studio. The problem is they couldn't make it exactly the same, so I had to be a little bit more inventive and creative in terms of what I put on any merchandise. But it's interesting trying to get these things done, actually. And that's why I didn't want to start my channel. I want to start off with set up the right way, have the fundamental things, and took longer than I wanted to, but better late than never. So people, you've given your view on this. I think I haven't seen a viewer. People want this team, people seem to suggest that it's not the optimum team. Richard Green said these guys are used to early kickoff. Yes, Richard, in some weather in England, we don't get hot. England don't get hot, Richard. I lived in England for a number of years. You really see sun. You're lucky if you see sun. In fact, when they play football, you don't see sun. You really see sun between, I won't say don't say, I don't mean no day at all, but between September and May. Seriously. July, yes. A little bit of June, a little bit of August. That's it. They're not used to this kind of weather. And I think they had expressed that perspective when they came to play against Panama way back when I mentioned before in COVID. So, this weather is not good for them. And you know this, Richard Green. 3:30 in the afternoon, Jamaica. Even if you were born in Jamaica, it's challenging. 3:30 in the afternoon on a surface, which is not the greatest surface in the world. I don't think so. Not good. Estate Nick said, Estate Nick, I agree with you, my youth. Burn out. No, the only good thing about this is we're not playing the US. Not in the US. We're not playing the Panamas of the world with the same level of athleticism as us, and we'll have to chase them, right? We should be chasing the ball. So maybe we'll have more time on the ball and be able to play. Bless up, Jerome 876. Thanks for joining. So we should have more time on the ball. But it's almost inhumane to play football at 3:30 in Jamaica on a Thursday. And we talked about this earlier, which is it's ridiculous that we haven't fixed the lights so they could play a 6:30, 7:30 game. And we all preach about having fans in the stadium. We'll go watch football at Jamaica at 3:30 in the afternoon on a weekday. That ain't happening. Ain't happening. Sorry. I'm trying to pull this up. J Bash Gaming is saying the feeling look bad, cranky, look okay. Yeah, well, that's good if it's okay. Does it bounce okay? Because sometimes it look good enough, but the bounce is not pure. So, yeah. Jeremiah saying the side that keeps the ball more will have the clear advantage. Yes, because it's harder to chase the ball than to have the ball, right? When you're playing defense and chasing the ball, it can be very painful. If you have the ball and it's playing the ball around, sometimes the sun may be hot, but you're enjoying yourself. You don't feel the same level of pain that comes around when you're playing defense. It's technique. I hope it's a vast cloud. It's technique. The cloud big and it's gray in the sky because you want the best out of the team, right? And it seemed to be a consensus here, which is DVA group is saying the good thing is that it's expected to rain tomorrow. So hopefully it won't be that hot. But on the other hand, depending on how much rain, it may cause a delay in the game. Yeah, and the rain may also be the field soggy. And we don't want a soggy field. You want to feel that, wait, let me say, if it's rain, the English players who plays in England, not English players, players who play in England will love it. Because it rain in England. It must rain more than half the year in England, I'm telling you. When you're watching games, you always see the camera and the raindrops. It rains all the time. That's why it's so great. It's gray, it's raining, it's melancholy. Well, I mean, find out whether they're difficult. I prefer to have sunshine, but not to play football in 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So, one last said, change CFAS to KRI. No, man, no. One last, I can't see CFAS on the bench, you know. But it's possible, right? But I'm going to see CFAS on the bench. Not with this. If you had Gray here, if you had Bailey here, yes, CFAS probably wouldn't start. But with this team and what we have offensively, I can't see CFAS being on the bench. Now, the formation may not fit CFAS, but I think what they'll do is just drop somebody more deeper, allow him to roam on the left, and exercise his ability. No, you need somebody who's going to be running at people and who's going to create havoc. And I think CFAS is the only player, frankly, on the field that can do that. You look at the team. You don't have a Bailey or a Gray there can go by people and create havoc. I think CFAS is the only one that has that ability, frankly. Now, you may have Dixon on the bench who contributes some of that, but for the starting 11, I think it's more the CFAS. I'd be surprised if CFAS did not start. Probably shocked, actually. And as I said, when I saw CFAS play, I thought he looked good. And against the US, he was the only, to me, he was really the real true threat. And he should have scored in that game. He got a clear one-on-one with the keeper and should have scored. So, yes, Matthew, rainy night in Stoke. I mean, rain everywhere in the UK. Stoke. Think about a place like Manchester. I used to go to Scotland for work. Let me not knock Scotland, but now if we go to Scotland, not all. Them place there, too wet, too melancholy, too damp for me. Triple E says, I agree, Cranky. We need a speedy player like CFAS. Yes, CFAS out there on the left creating havoc. Force the defense to cover off and double team and leave other people open. Yeah, we need his speed. Not only speed, we need his skill too. What we also need him to do is improve his finishing. Actually, he gets the finishing right, he can be a very, very good player. I respect CFAS's game, and I think he can be a good player, and I think he'll contribute quite a bit to this game if given the opportunity. So hopefully he starts CFAS. All right, people, we have 16 minutes left, and the phone line is open. 347-728-8625. You can call at your leisure. And people, for all 56 of you in the chat, I hope you have subscribed already because I was going to do this every day, but I'll admit, I'm thinking about 3 times a week. Because people, I never work so hard in my life. A long time I working. I tell you a story. When you don't know something and you learn it and you try work, even though I don't believe in giving up on nothing, but I tell you, enough work. And by the way, if you don't speak Patois, I should get a Patois dictionary. I'm going to talk some of that now. A whole heap of work, I do. A whole heap tired. People in my family can tell you, work till 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night, trying to learn garage band, learn all sort of something. Canva, still don't know them. Can we take the shortcut for learning enough to do the thing them? So you see me do people need feedback on certain things. We need feedback on my hat. We need feedback on my song. Can we have 2 songs and then we have an introductory song. And then we try to do some, we not call it DJ, because I disrespect DJ. Some talking thing. We do some talking things. So we need some feedback. Because you only can, me love feedback now. Whether it's criticism or not, me love it because the only way I can improve is get feedback. So, you know, you me play my song again. Probably not tonight. I'll play the intro video, which I did with my niece, who's like 12. And I thought she did a good job. I'll play the song maybe tomorrow, because tomorrow I want to do 1 or 2 show. Tomorrow, people, I'm doing a pre-game show. But first of all, let me say this before I say that, because I'm trying to find out where I can watch the game. Because I heard that it's on Flow and Rush. I don't have either. So if you live in the States, people, you know, let me know how one get access to those. And it's Flow's app, not Flow, the channel on the TV channel. It's Flow, the app. So I assume that's outside of Jamaica. So let me know how you can do that, because I want to make sure I can watch the game. Even though I love to watch games whereby I am up to date in terms of, because if you watch certain channels streaming, it's slower than the normal TV. So you're not having the same timeline, and then people say goal and you don't hear that it's goal. But I do want to ensure that I watch it. So someone is saying the game is on CONCACAF YouTube. But let's hope that's the case. If you also use VPN, yeah, make sure that, you know what? Let me have VPN. Me have VPN on my iPad, but if me have it on. You know what? I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out by tomorrow. I have to figure it out by tomorrow. But I do want to make sure I watch the game. So I want to do a pre-game, in-game, and post-game show. So if you're on tonight and you're interested, you can come join me tomorrow. All right? I would love for you to join tomorrow, because it should be interesting discussion, actually. Coach Minzy's on the line, Coach's Desk TV. So people, when you're doing these things, you need a friend. It's like a baby, you need a friend. And Coach Minzy, you must tell him, because I'm going to stop calling him. Hey, Minzy, you do A, or Minzy, you do B. Minzy, you have to tell me the other day, said, what do I have to do? There's something I had to do. I messed up totally with my channel. And he's like, no, you have to go in. Oh, my channel I set up was for kids. So, I'm going to do YouTube now. Apart from this, I don't really do YouTube. I didn't do YouTube. I learned about YouTube through Sports DTM and Coach's Desk. So I didn't really do YouTube then. So I have no idea how any things work. So I call Minzy 24 hours. See, Minzy saying tired of me, Jenna. You must tired of me, Minzy. I call Minzy, I go to graduation. He might go to park. He might go to school. He might be on the phone with me, because even though me watch other YouTube channel, they're going so fast, I could slow them down 10 times. I still can't get it. And then when they click on something, you have no idea what they click on. So I feel like I had a baby learning to walk, actually. But at some point, I'm going to learn this, actually, because I'm determined to learn it. Oh, I'm saying not tired of me. Oh, okay. I thought you said tired of me, because me that tired of me, frankly. Me that tired of me myself. But Binti, thanks for joining up, and thanks for supporting the channel, actually. Yeah, Minzy, we just read it after I messed up the first time. No, but I appreciate your help, Minzy. It's been awesome, actually. And Minzy's not thinking about me as competition, because we can't compete with Minzy. Minzy's thinking about me as a friend, and he's helping me get this set up right and giving me all the guidelines I need to be effective in this space. So, Minzy, love the support. So, people, the lines, Minzy, you can't call no Minzy. You can't call no view no Minzy, because the phone line open. See, they're up on the screen, Minzy. 347 number. So, no can call in. Before we come, I close down 8 o'clock now. Me not go long past 2 hours. Me can't manage more than 2 hours thing. Hey, that space is not easy enough, people. People think, say, just come to YouTube channel and do your thing, and it's easy. You know how much preparation it takes? And not only that, so when I look at my computer stream, just talk for 2 hours and 3 and 4 hours is not my forte. It's fidgety, so it's hard. You may see me move up enough, it's hard for me. So know yourself. Thanks for joining. I appreciate you being here. First of all, people, all of you who have joined, make this worthwhile. I truly appreciate you being here and supporting me and supporting the channel. As you come in, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, because it's important you know when I'm going to be on. And if you have time, I don't take this for granted, because you could be doing 10 other things and you're here with me, so I do appreciate it. But I also want you to give me feedback. So, Crank, you did this wrong. And you can text the number, you know. You know, if you even call, you can text the number, because I make sure I got a number just for this program. So you can text it. you have ideas. Just indicate who you are, so I know you have ideas. XYZ. Yeah, no. You know them have need my friend Cataract. No, me and my friend Minzy. We don't need nobody else. Minzy playing that role real well. Need nobody else, Nitro. No, but it's interesting. It's a lot of work. I had no idea. I must admit, because I retired, right? I mentioned I've retired, and my family keep telling me, I thought you were retired. Like, you're doing all this stuff. It's challenging. So I do feel for anybody who start their channel and something happens, or spend a lot of investment in it and hasn't worked out well. I can appreciate their frustration, and I can appreciate what they're going through, because you have to experience it to know it. And it's been interesting, actually. It's been interesting. Blessing Jamaican, me create what a name, me crazy. Not just say, well, you have more subscribers than Unseen in a few days. Well, no, I don't. I don't know about that. But I appreciate people who are subscribing, and I appreciate people who bring your comments, good, bad, indifferent. Bring the comments. We can have a dialogue. We can have talk. My only request for people on this is that we respect each other. It's an imperative, right? The goal is for us to have a dialogue, communicate, engage, support each other, not to be divisive, not to be disrespectful. When people don't agree with you, it's an opportunity to convince them to agree with you, not to berate them. I think that's important. So my hope and my expectation and my requirement is that we respect each other in these forums, right? Nothing wrong with criticizing. Cranky is a cranky. Don't like you do XYZ. Your comment is not logical in the right way, but don't say somebody saying, yeah, idiot, make no sense, you're a fool. Those things are disrespectful comment. There's a better way to tell somebody to improve themselves than to try to just disregard them and denigrate them. So that's my own. I'll preach that a little bit and preach that more and more every day, because I think it's important for us to respect each other. Triple E says, support people who mean well for others. So keep it up, cranky. Thanks, Triple E. Appreciate the positive comments. And so Minzy, you're not calling Minzy. Minzy, you have to call into my program, Minzy. Because I'm calling to you, man. Hey, Minzy, I'll give you time for this now. Then if you're probably busy, but if you call in, man, every 2 minutes, because we almost all the time in a Minzy. I'm like when the phone ring, and people always want to hear your voice. Bless up Pristine, and I see that you're a 40s person. Okay, we always 40s, them always a link 24/7. So bless up. Thanks for being here. Thanks for joining. I know people, what's funny? I said this to somebody today, which is, I'm one of those individuals don't really ask for anything per se. It's interesting. I couldn't be a salesperson, too prideful. And when you're doing this, you have to check yourself. When you're doing this program, you have to check yourself. Okay, you have to ask for things. You have to ask the people to spend them time for your program, subscribe to your. It's really interesting being in this space and realize that you have to change and improve as a person. Minzy, if you call me on the calling number, Minzy, 347, you call me on my regular phone. I'm trying to get hello. You've reached Crank. Yeah, this Cranky Live. Who's this?
Yeah, man. One Law.
How you doing?
Thanks
for calling.
I'm wonderful, man. Listen, I've been watching you from the start of Coaches Dess's channel, and I have always respect your analysis, man, and the way how you think and to analyze football. So when I see you doing your thing, man, I had to come on over to give you some strength and some support. No, I really called to just to tell you the rationale behind the formation and the team I have chosen, because I don't think that we have the best squad. As we know, many of our key players are missing, and I believe I wanted to use experience with speed. I don't think we're going to have all of the ball tomorrow, and I don't think magically we're going to have a midfielder who becomes a magical playmaker for us to have the ball. Even so, unless Karai Anderson is that player that we've not seen. So I wanted to use experience mixed with speed, and that's why I have chosen the squad that I've chosen just now.
Okay. No, and that can be appreciated. I do think, though, No, look, you make a lot of good points actually in terms of your rationale for selecting your team. I always realize that the coach thinks something different than we do a lot of times. It's amazing. He's in camp with the players. He knows what they are. He knows who's injured, who's not injured, who's in good shape, who's not in good shape, and different situations and scenarios. And he has a plan about how he wants to play and who he wants to play. So, but no, there's no wrong and right answer in terms of the rationale behind the team. So long as the rationale is sound and your rationale is sound.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that was the reason, man. You know, sometimes text messages sometimes don't give you the real interpretation of, you know,
right.
that are called. So that's why I call. And you know, I mean, I'm open to critique in terms of, you know, because this is where we should be open to critique each other and say, boy, we could do something else. I don't mind if anybody likes it or not, man. I'm just glad you're doing your thing, man. I'm here to support the channel.
Well, Lana, I appreciate you calling. I appreciate you supporting me. It's not taken for granted, all right? So thanks a lot.
All right, man. No problem, guys.
Right, bless up. Thanks.
Yeah, man.
So, Minzy, you know, you call Minzy. I may go over 5 minutes for you alone, Minzy. So, come up on the number on the screen, Minzy. The 347-728-8625 number. I'm not answer my regular phone. Even though your answer your one, and then me call your regular. Come here, I was call your Jamaica, your 8697 number. So, Minzy, if you're still there, call me. I'm expecting your call before I close out tonight. People that have 5 minutes left, if you want to call, and it's now down to 4, please do so. First of all, we have 47 people on the chat. The likes are up. I appreciate that. And as I said before, and I've been saying all night, I do appreciate you joining me. I appreciate you being here. I love the camaraderie. I love the comments in the comment section. I love the respect that is being shown and demonstrated. I love the support that you're providing to me, and I appreciate the support. And my hope is that this can be a long-term relationship that we have, and that it will work out well. I do want to do the preview game and the post game tomorrow, and I have posted starting about 3:45 tomorrow actually, because it's a 4:30 game here. So I see a 914 number coming in.
Cranky, what go on?
Minzy, my friend, my confidant, my teacher.
My job never done. No.
My job never done. You have 2 jobs. You have 2 guys. Me a full-time student, you know. Me a full-time
student.
Yeah. In fact, me such full-time, me a daytime, and can be talk to you like 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm talking to you at night too. So
yeah,
full-time student. I appreciate the support.
Yeah, man. Big up the people in the chat, you know.
Yeah. And people, if any of you haven't subscribed to Coach's Desk, please do so. Minzy have a great thing going. The other day, Minzy had 1,200 people on him channel live, you know, people. Man, I talk about 1,200 people who watch him, you know, live, track and field. So, Minzy a big track and field person. He's a coach, but he also does the football and other sports also. So, Minzy, we appreciate your time. I appreciate you, actually.
Yeah, man, respect, man. I big up, know yourself, you know. Know yourself, say, you might watch my channel from the dep on a veranda, you know. So,
you were on the veranda? I wasn't watching then.
About 2 shows for the veranda, man. All in the front of the yard, sit down with the floors that they had. I hold for place we sit down. Cause, you know, we just start it when we never set up yet because we're young to the thing.
Right.
We just enthused about it, and so the dynamics really change now. Everybody I go for a professional setup. So like how Cranky set up team thing, well professional. When we just start YouTube, me no advance like you know.
Well, you know, mistake, right? If me do it, I have to
yeah,
do it, yeah. Because people give me, you know, much grief me get. So me not start. Can me mention it from what? From about February.
Yeah, man, and then everybody a beat us. All Barlet TV gonna start before you.
Exactly. Barlet start. Jason gonna start. No, I have to start when I was ready. And if I knew it would have taken so much out of me, I may have started later. If I knew it was so much work, because you know what was funny? You know when I knew it was work? When you and I went to Texas, right? I mean, so basically I watch him and I say, Minzy not take a minute off. Minzy, I still on my interview. Minzy I take picture. Minzy I take video. Me say, me come enjoy the football. Me can't spend my time I do all them things, star. You do so much. You can't really enjoy what you're sporting because you're spending so much time trying to garner information
Content.
and content for the channel. It's rough. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. A lot of constant work. Constant work.
And it takes time too. And that's why most times people do the YouTube full time. I am not a full time YouTuber.
Right.
Me I do it when I have free time, and that is very scarce.
Right.
So to keep the channel up and running, we just do some commentaries throughout the week. And if you notice, even on Saturdays and all, well, you know what I go on. We don't have to tell the public what I go on. If you notice on Saturdays, me not even in upon the live again and doing something because the dynamics change now.
Yeah.
So it kind of difficult for me, So with you, we have a time now, Cranky. You have to put in the work.
Well, but here's the thing, Minzy. I initially started saying I'm going to do this every weekday. Mr. Minzy, I can't do every weekday. I talk low, so give them not hear me. You don't hear me. Minzy, hey, I'm tired. Hey, Minzy, I'm tired. I actually know, Minzy, I'm tired. So I do treat. I want to do Monday, Wednesday, Friday still. At least for now.
Yeah.
Until I get this settled down. And I have some personal stuff I have to deal with. Because, when you retire, you have no stuff to do. But I want to do Monday, Wednesday, Friday at a minimum. And then figure out if I can really do 5 days a week. Because initially I thought, you know what? If you think about like the Breakfast Club, for example, who do the morning show, they do like 3-4 hours. I'm like, I could do that because I used to go to work at 5 o'clock in the morning. But it's the behind the scenes stuff that you have to do before the show. It's not the show, it's behind the scenes. If you want to do it right, which takes all your time actually. And I'm a one-person production team, so make it difficult.
Not only that, too, you see the sitting in the space for so long.
Right.
That is also a part of it. So you might set up and you make your plans, you make your notes for your production. You have to ensure you test all your thing them to ensure your studio up and running, your camera, your mic, all of them things there. Always have to test them thing there. Sometimes the mic decide to one of them other thing.
Yeah.
So a lot of these things happen. So the work before the show, the live stream start, people don't really understand, and then to sit there for the next 2 hours, that's wicked, man.
Yeah, funny, Minzy, I watch a lot of YouTube stuff. How do you start a YouTube channel? How do you set up the mic? How do you set up the Zoom? Enough stuff. And as you know, when I set it up, Minzy, now work, Minzy, one for do. Minzy, now work. I have a call it now work. Me go to the whole YouTube. Me slow down the YouTube speed. They click on things I have no idea what they're clicking on, and it gets frustrating. But no, I appreciate all your support. You've been great throughout this whole process, so I do appreciate it. And I mean, it will get better over time, obviously, as we go through it. By the way, me ask the people them. So when we close out this evening, I'm sure I done it. I say 8 o'clock. Me I'll play the long version of this song. And don't leave. And just tell me you need feedback on my song because I want to go into the music business. I joke me make anyway, but me try to. I know it was long because I did the promo, which is about, I think it's less than a minute or about a minute. No, it's 1 minute and 30 seconds. But I did a long version because I thought, you know what? Let me talk about what I bring to the table. And I knew it was long, and I knew it would be hard for somebody to sit there and listen for 3 minutes, but I said I'm going to do it anyway, right? And I spent a ton of time doing that. GarageBand, iMovie, all that stuff. And I did it, but I haven't gotten any feedback yet. So I need feedback, people. I need feedback. I'm not going to do the promo this evening. When I close out, I'm going to do that long version. You tell me how it is. And then when you come back, hopefully you come back tomorrow, come watch me when I do the thing. You can tell me, say, Cranky, that don't make no sense, my youth. You don't have no talent. Or you can say, no, Cranky, we like it, or we dislike it, or we love it. Whatever it is, but any feedback is good feedback, no matter what it is. So please do.
Yeah, man.
All right, man. Appreciate you.
Big up yourself, Cranky.
Yeah,
don't know though. Anytime.
All right, bless. People, thanks for being here. Appreciate you being here. Please hit the like button before you leave. Please subscribe. Please hit the notification bell before you leave so you can be notified when I do come on. So Crank was an intern and coaches this management a few years, but it looks like him. No, but you understand this, Triple E. I mean, it does stuff. No, Triple E, when you get old, you have your grandfather, your grandmother, you know that work. The technology become easy when you're younger, but when you get older, things just get slower because you do so much other things. So even though I'm on their show, they did all the the back door work, not back door, but behind the scenes work. I just go on and execute. I just go and talk. Well, when you're not talking, you try to do all the things in the background. It's a whole different ball game, but it'll get better over time. I'm pretty confident, and I don't give up. As Speed was saying last night on the interview, that he works hard, and I believe in working hard, but I also believe in working smart. So I got to be smarter in doing this, and hopefully it work out well. So people, I appreciate you being here. By the way, as I said before you click out, just listen to the thing on my tribe. I don't know if it's a DJ or dope poet or what the heck it was, but it was something. Listen before you leave. I'll play it before you leave, and you can give me a feedback when you come join me tomorrow. Hopefully you're here tomorrow to join me for the watch along and for the pre-game and for the post-game. All right, peeps. So I appreciate you being here. Thanks, and Godspeed. Have a good evening. Cranky Life is the best to be now. For the best sports talk, and it's free, yo. Cranky Life will be your guiding light by keeping you informed both day and night. Cranky Life, tell them. Cranky Life, heed them. Cranky Life, want them. Cranky Life. From the courts to the field, we'll never lose because Cranky has the hottest news. With expert analysis, we break it down. Our in-depth coverage is best in town. Cranky Life, tell them. Cranky Life, heed them. Cranky Life, want them. Cranky Life. Cranky Life, where the sports is spicy and where we keep the discussion lively. Cranky Life, get to know the name because Cranky analysis is never lame. Cranky Life, give me my Cranky Life. I want my Cranky Life. Must have my Cranky Life. Whether it's football or track and field, you know Cranky is at the wheel. So join the journey through victory and defeat, and subscribe and don't miss a beat of Cranky Life. Tell them, Cranky Life. Heed them, Cranky Life. Want them, Cranky Life. If you're from England or USA, from Kingston or Bombay, from Kenya or Canada, Lagos or Havana, visit Cranky Life. Tune into Cranky Life. Like up Cranky Life. Subscribe to Cranky Life. Cranky Life coming to you on weekdays. Cranky Life sometimes on Sundays. Pull up a chair and take a seat because Cranky will always bring the heat. Cranky Life. Me say fi tell them Cranky Life. Me say fi heed them Cranky Life. On them Cranky Life. Cranky Life will be around. Cranky Life is the best in town. Me say fi heed them. Me say fi want them. Me say fi heed them. Want them, heed them, want them. Cranky Life. Cranky Life. Heed them. Want them. Heed them. Want them. Cranky Life. Cranky Life. Heed them. Want them. Heed them. Want them. Heed them. Want them. Cranky Life. Cranky Life. Cranky. Heed them. Want them. Heed them. Want them. Heed. Want. Heed. Want. Heed them.